On a crystal raindrop. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. You and I found a crystal raindrop. अबे पेन है क्या? पेन कहाँ गया यार सारा? इतना सारा तो पेन था भाई, सारा गायब कहाँ हो गया? ऐसे कैसे चलता होगा वो? हम देखें जरा पेन कैसे पेन इतना पेन चल रहा है? चलेगा चलेगा, पेन तो होना चाहिए हमारे पास। सारा इतना इतना पेन था मेरे पास, सब खत्म कैसे हो गया यार? Find a crystal raindrop. Hello to bro here.
Whose name is within this array. We will pass in a document body is one comparison operator to give you a range. Now another good operator is the in operator. Give you Sandy's is 4, comma, and less than or equal to 4. So these would be the students that have a good GPA. SpongeBob and Sandy. SpongeBob has a GPA of 3.2. Sandy's is 4.0. You can use more than one comparison operator to give you a range. Now another good operator is the in operator. With the in operator, we can return all records that have one of these matching values. So db.students.find. Let's find any student whose name is within this array. We will pass in a document body, use the in operator, colon, then list an array of values. Let's find anybody whose name is either SpongeBob, Patrick, or Sandy. So within an array, we will list our values. Return anybody whose name is SpongeBob, Patrick, or Sandy. There, SpongeBob, Patrick, Sandy. With the in logical operator, you will return all documents where one of the values in this array is found within this field. You can also use not in, which is nin. So let's copy this line, clear our screen, paste it, change in to nin, not in. Return all documents where name doesn't have one of these values. That would give us Gary and Larry. We are given everybody's name that's not SpongeBob, Patrick, or Sandy. Let's switch to Compass and I'll show you how we can do the same thing. Within Compass, you would write your filter within this text box. Return everybody who has a, write your filter within this text box. Return everybody who has a GPA field that is greater than or equal to 3. GTE is in MongoDB or false. Gary, and those are comparison operators in MongoDB. Hey everybody, today I need to explain logical operators. Logical operators return data based on expressions that evaluate to be true or false. There's 4: and, or, nor, and not. Let's begin with and. Use or, and, or, nor, and not. Let's begin with and. Using the AND logical operator, we can check to see if two expressions are true. Let's begin with db.students, that's the name of the collection. We'll use the find method, pass in a document object. We will use the AND logical operator. It's preceded with a $sign. It's an operator, then a colon. Whatever expressions you would like to check, you will place within an array. List as many expressions as you would like. Let's return any document where the student is a full-time student and they're 22 years or younger. Usually most students, when they start college, they're between the ages of 18 and 22. So let's find all those students. We'll have two conditions. We need two document bodies. Our first condition is full-time true. Give me any student that's a full-time student. And our other condition is give me any student that's age is less than or equal to 22. We'll use the less than equals comparison operator, colon, 22. And that's it. We have one student, Gary. He's 22 and under, and a full-time student. So with the AND logical operator, you can have more than one condition. This condition needs to be true, and that condition needs to be true. We were given the result of Gary. He's the only student that passes these two filters. They both evaluated to be true. Let's copy this method, we'll reuse it. Let's discuss OR. Change AND to OR. With the OR logical operator, at least one of these conditions need to be true. Give me anybody that's a full-time student, or anybody that's 22 or younger. That will give me two documents. Sandy, she's older than 22, but she's a full-time student. Gary is 22 and under, and a full-time student. So with the OR logical operator, at least one condition needs to be true. So again, let's copy this method, we'll reuse it, then we will talk about NOR. So with the NOR logical operator, NOR, we will return any document where these conditions are false. This needs to be false, as well as this needs to be false. It's kind of like AND, but instead of both conditions being true,
Just a crystal raindrop. Just the two of us. We can try just the two of us. You and the noise. All right.
it's the opposite. They both need to be false. So that would give me three results. SpongeBob, he's above 22, he's a part-time student. Patrick is 38, he's a part-time student. Larry, he's 32, he's a part-time student. With the NOR logical operator, we need both of these conditions to be false. That gave us these three documents for SpongeBob, Patrick, and Larry. Lastly, we have not. Suppose I have this query. db.students.find. Find any student that is not above 30. I could write something like this. Age, colon. We'll use the less than comparison operator, colon. 30. Find any student under 30. Normally, this would give me Sandy and Gary. You know, this does work, but what if somebody doesn't have some information for their age? Like, let's change Gary's age to null, because in SpongeBob lore, Gary is a pet snail. His age is in cat years. Student whose age is less operator reverses what not greater than or equal to 30. But we will change the comparison operator to be greater than equals. Give me any student that is not greater than or equal to 30. So that should give me both Sandy and Gary, even though Gary's age is null. In many circumstances, you could use less than, but a benefit of the not logical operator is that it would give you null values. Return any document that doesn't fit this condition. Basically speaking, not just does the opposite. All right, everybody, so those are logical operators. They return data based on expressions that evaluate to be true or false, and those are logical operators in MongoDB. Hey everybody, today we are moving on to indexes. An index allows for the quick lookup of a field. However, it takes up more memory and slows insert, update, and remove operations. Use them wisely. Utilizing an index, if you're familiar with data structures and algorithms, we are storing our data as a B tree. If there's a field you search for, but you don't do many updates, I would recommend an index. Here's an example. Let's find any students named Larry. db.students.find. Remove and a return data any document that a student. Hey everybody, today patients. Use them wisely. Updates. I would recommend an index tree. If there's a field you search and algorithms,
Okay, binary tree. Gotcha. इधर वाले छोटे उधर वाले बड़े 2 4 3 2 4 1 3 5 6 1 2 3 4 5.
we are storing our data as a B tree. If there's a field you search for, but you don't do many updates, I would recommend an index. Here's an example. Let's find any students named Larry. db.students.find. Find anybody named Larry. I'm going to make one adjustment though. Let's method chain the explain method and pass in this string, execution stats. That will give me the execution stats of this query. I have 5 documents within my collection. We have examined 5 documents to find Larry. We're performing a linear search through our collection. We're examining each document one by one. I only have 5 documents. That wouldn't take too long. Imagine I have thousands or hundreds of thousands of documents. Well, a linear search is going to take a really long time. We can speed up the lookup by the explain method. Example. Well, let's find any students named Larry. db.students.find. Find anybody named Larry. I'm going to make one adjustment though. Let's method chain the explain method and pass in this string, execution stats. That will give me the execution stats of this query. I have 5 documents within my collection. We have examined 5 documents to find Larry. We're performing a linear search through our collection. We're examining each document one by one. I only have 5 documents. That wouldn't take too long. Imagine I have thousands or hundreds of thousands of documents. Well, a linear search is going to take a really long time. We can speed up the lookup process by applying an index. To apply an index to a field, you would type something like this. db, the name of the collection, create index. Now, what field would you like to apply an index for? Let's apply an index to our name field. Name, : you can arrange the data in your index in ascending order by using 1 or descending order with -1. So with the name, 1 would be alphabetical, starting with A to Z. Let's hit enter. This is the name of our index, name_1. Let's perform that query one more time. db.students. So with the name 1 by using dot. Create index. Now what field would you like to apply an index for? Let's apply an index to our name field. Name, : you can arrange the data in your index in ascending order by using 1 or descending order with -1. So with the name, 1 would be alphabetical, starting with A to Z. Let's hit enter. This is the name of our index, name_1. Let's perform that query one more time. db.students.find. Find anybody named Larry. Name, Larry. Then we will method chain the explain method. Pass in the string, execution stats. Let's see what the results are. This time we only examined one document. Examining one document is a lot less time consuming than examining 5 documents. Like I said, I have a small data set. It doesn't appear to make that big of a difference, but if you have hundreds of thousands of documents, it's going to save you a lot of time. To get all your indexes, you can use the getIndexes method. db.students.getIndexes, and we have 2. There already is an index applied to object IDs. We have that by default. And here's the index we created to look up names quickly. We have 2 indexes technically. To drop an index, you'll need the name. Let's copy that. db. .students.drop. Index. Place the name of the index within the drop index method. And our index is dropped. Let's take a look at our indexes again. db.student.getIndexes, and our index is gone. Now, if you would like to create an index in Compass, you go to the Indexes tab, create index, select a type or field name. Let's create an index for name. Select a type. Let's place our name in ascending order. You can select more options, but that's a little advanced for us at this level. Let's begin with the basics. And that's how to create an index in Compass. Then to drop the index, you just press this trash can icon. Type the index name, name_1, and that's how to drop an index. So in conclusion, applying an index to a field allows for quick lookup of that field, but it takes up more memory, and it slows insert, update, and remove operations because you have to update the binary search tree. Use indexes wisely. Personally, I would recommend an index if you're doing a lot of searching, but not a lot of updating. So that's an introduction to indexes in MongoDB. Hey everybody, with the last few minutes remaining of the MongoDB in 1 hour series, I thought I'd get a little more in depth with collections. As we've learned at the beginning of the series, a collection is a group of documents, and a database is a group of collections. Within your database, to show collections, you can type show collections. Currently, we only have 1, students. Let's create another though. Let's create a collection of teachers. We'll use the db.createCollection method, pass in a name for this collection. Let's create a collection of teachers. So this would work. However, there are some additional options that we can pass in as arguments to this method. Let's add the next argument. It's comma separated. Another argument that we can pass into this method when creating a collection is a max size for this collection. We will set the capped field to be true. That's that we can pass in a name for this collection. Let's create collections. You can type show. We've learned at the beginning of the series, a collection is a group of documents, and a database is a group of collections. Within your database, to show collection.
गाने फट जाए लौड़े में गोली लगे कहीं और गोली ना लगे। अरे भाई क्या बोल रहे हो, कश्मीर जाना ही नहीं है भाई, कोई बढ़िया जगह जाएंगे। तुम जाओ भाई कश्मीर, भोसड़ी के सही सही बोल लो। पता है तो कपल्स कहीं गए थे, ऊपर कुछ फ्लोर लिए थे, ठीक है, शीशा वाला था, जो सेक्स कर रहे थे बाहर से पहले लोग वीडियो बना दिए। क्या कर, मरने से तो बढ़िया ही है।
You can type show collections. Currently, we only have 1, students. Let's create another though. Let's create a collection of teachers. We'll use the db.createCollection method, pass in a name for this collection. Let's create a collection of teachers. So this would work. However, there are some additional options that we can pass in as arguments to this method. Let's add the next argument. It's comma separated. Another argument that we can pass into this method when creating a collection is a max size for this collection. We will set the capped field to be true. That's informing MongoDB this collection should have a maximum size. This field is either true or false. If capped is set to true, you do need a minimum size specified. So size, that's a field. Then set a size in bytes. If you would like a maximum size of 10 megabytes, that would be 10 million. 10 million bytes. Let me count. My zeros. Yeah, that's accurate. And or you can have a maximum. So size, if capped is set to true, you do need a size in bytes. If you would like a maximum size of 10 megabytes, that would be 10 million. 10 million bytes. Let me count my zeros. Yeah, that's accurate. And or you can have a maximum number of documents. You will set the max field to be some amount of documents. I don't want any more than 100 teachers. Our collection has a maximum size of 10 megabytes. We've also set that there can be no more than 100 documents in this collection. We don't want any more than 100 teachers. There are a few more advanced options for collections, but that's beyond our level right now. But another you may be interested in is auto index ID. So that is a separate argument. It's comma separated. We need a document body, auto index ID. This is either true or false. Based on indexes in the last topic, automatically we apply an index to object IDs. We can toggle that. To be true or false. There are some pros and cons with indexes. An index allows for quick lookup, but any write operations are a little bit slower. I'll set auto index ID to be false. Let's execute this command. All right, that was approved. Let's show our collections. Show collections. And we have two collections. A collection for students and a collection for teachers. Hey, let's create one more for practice. Let's create one more collection. db.create collection. What's got our school? That was approved. Let's show our collections. And we have three: courses, students, teachers. Then to drop a collection, you type db, the name of the collection. Let's drop our courses. Dot drop method. That was dropped. Let's show our collections again. And we are back to two collections, a collection of students and a collection of teachers. All right, everybody, that was MongoDB in 1 hour. Hey, if you've made it this far, be sure you've smashed that like button, leave a random comment down below, and subscribe if you'd like to become a fellow bro.
Alright. Alright, not bad. पानी चाहिए
मेरा भी लेते जाना ना
मोटे हैं भाई तुम उठा नहीं रहे हो उसको परफ्यूम वहीं पड़ा है साले नीचे उठा के ऊपर रखे जम जजम जम let's do something. एक और टर्मिनल चाहिए. Start Mongo start. Okay. Right. Okay, connections. We have anything. तो अपन ने क्या क्या सीखा? यहाँ से चलते हैं. तेरा वो कौन सा था बे जो तू बोल रहा था कि लिखना है टाइप करना है वो वाला?
कल साइड से आएगा वो कंसंट्रिक्स का.
कल आएगा. टाइप करना है बस बस. आजकल तो इमेज टू टेक्स्ट होता है पता है ना.
वो तो पूरा सिस्टम क्रैश रहेगा ना, तो तुम उसको कैसे होगा?
अच्छा अच्छा.
हम तुमको साइड से सब फोटो लेके दे सकते हैं.
हाँ तो कॉपी पेस्ट कैसे करोगे?
तुमको उधर से लिखना है, इधर वो लगेगा ना.
अच्छा अच्छा. कीबोर्ड
कीबोर्ड भी है.
कीबोर्ड तो हमारे पास ही था, मुझको दे दिए शायद.
उसमें सर्विस में कीबोर्ड का.
उसको दिए हैं, मतलब जूनियर था. अबे वो भैया का भाई.
अच्छा. कल एक है वहीं जो 10 बजे थी. कौन सेशन है उसको बोला ऐसे डिस्कशन की लग रहा. हमको भी लग रहा है इसमें फेंके है वहीं जो. कंपनी तो जेन्युइन दिखा रहे हैं. ठीक. वो जिस हिसाब से उसका मेल आया है ना, मेल देख के लग रहा है जैसे क्या कर सकते हैं. छुट्टियाँ कटने के बाद कुछ हम लोग के पास उपाय भी नहीं है. ग्रुप डिस्कशन करते हैं. तो क्या लग रहा है जेन्युइन है? हो सकता है क्योंकि इसका मैं फॉर्म वगैरह भरा था तो सही से. तो क्या लग रहा है जेन्युइन हो सकता है?
सही तो लग रहा है. क्या दिक्कत लग रहा है?
ये सब क्या साला अपने इंस्टाग्राम आईडी लौड़ा रहा है सब.
वो तो वो दिया है. अगर मतलब ऐसे ही लोग देते हैं ना कि कंपनी का वेबसाइट, इंस्टा का वेबसाइट, ऐसे चेकआउट करो स्टोरीज वगैरह ये वो. मेन तो ये है यहाँ पे ग्रुप डिस्कशन होगा ना गूगल मीट पे, वो है मेन.
10 बजे दिन में है ना. अप टू
23 तारीख को, कल यानी कि 10 से 11 मतलब वो होगा
11,000 का स्टाइपेंड है.
4.5 LPA. सही है यार ये तो.
और हमको लग रहा है बाद इसमें भाई चलो साला पहले इंटर्नशिप जैसा हमको कंपनी.
हाँ तो इंटर्नशिप ही है ना.
बट वो कंपनी हमको
पहले इंटर्नशिप रखेगा 6 महीने के लिए।
ठीक है, बट पैसा नहीं मांगे तब ना।
है तो देखो इंटर्नशिप पैकेज 4.5, लेकिन 4.5 मतलब कि तुमको कितना देगा, यही लगभग 35-36 हज़ार महीना, ठीक है 6 महीने के
जरूरत
लिए।
हमको रिलोकेट करना पड़ेगा। बट अब हम पूरा माइंड सेट क्लियर है रवीन, अब कहीं भी जा सकते हैं।
भाई अब तो करना पड़ेगा ना, अगर जाना है
बहुत
तो।
दिन हो गया का
हम्म,
ये देख रहे थे।
पुणे में है।
ये थोड़ा बहुत क्वेश्चन वगैरह रिज्यूम से रिलेटेड देख रहे थे। चैट जीपीटी पे रिज्यूम डाले, हमारा साहब भाई क्वेश्चन विद आंसर दे देता है यार। जितना खराब है रवीन चैट जीपीटी बहादुर उतना सही है ये। खराब है कि तुम्हारा डाटा रखता है। तो दीदी गलती से सर्च की ना, टेल मी अबाउट माय हस्बैंड इन लास्ट
इन कॉलेज टाइम।
इन कॉलेज टाइम टू सिंस, तब तो बड़ा गए। एक आदमी ने हमको बोल रहा था कि अगर ज़्यादा दिक्कत है तो आधा इलेक्ट्रिकल में करवाते हैं। बोले भैया अभी देखो इलेक्ट्रिकल वगैरह में नहीं जाना है हमको, वहीं
क्या था यार, एक सेकेंड इसमें देखा जाए। ओके स्टूडेंट्स तो बना है, ठीक है सही है, समझ गया। कलेक्शन है। ओके ओके ओके, यहाँ पे ये बचा है। तेरा उम्र कितना है बे? 22 साल 23 साल? एज क्या है तेरा?
क्या
एज
इसका
तेरा?
22
22।
क्या बोल रहा है?
डाटा डाल रहे हैं यहाँ पे थोड़ा। क्या करना? दो हजार 25 चल रहा है ना? 2025 चल रहा है ना? खाने को है अबे अनुराग भट्टाचार्य खाने को है खाने को हाँ ठेकुआ है खिला दो उठो ना भाई तुम्हारा इजी पड़ेगा देख रहे हम कितना सिस्टम में बैठे हुए हैं कितना सिस्टम से हम बैठे हुए हैं हाँ
छोड़ दिए
क्या छोड़ दिए छोटा वाला था तो हमारे पास शुरू में 2 को 3 को 2 और क्या शिष्टम बना रे छोरा जा
Ladies and gentlemen, I've got good news. I've got bad news. The good news is, I think I'm about to show you one of the greatest chess games ever played. The bad news is, I think I'm about to show you one of the worst chess games ever played. This game made it to the absolute top of the charts on Reddit a couple of days ago, and it was posted in the Chess Beginner subreddit, and it's definitely a real game. But credit to the individual, they did not drop a link to their channel because I think they would have gotten like hundreds of messages. This is the immortal King March game. Our protagonists are nameless because I don't know their names, the lost heroes of the battle. The person playing with black, we've named them Giga Chad Muknubovich. It's an Eastern European name. And person playing with white is unfortunate opponent. Now you can tell their elos are slightly different. Just don't pay any attention to that. Just pay attention to what's gonna happen on the board. You're gonna learn a few things, but for the most part, you might pee yourself from laughter. The game begins with e4. You do not need to pee yourself just yet. Unless you have some sort of condition, in which case, pee away. e5. Symmetrical king spawn. So far, so good. So far, so good. And now white plays king e2. No. Knight to f3. Very natural move. Simply attacking the pawn in the center. Pawn to d6. Not the best move, but it's a move. This is known as the Philidor defense. But given what's about to unfold in front of you, I don't think that this person knew that this is called the Philidor defense. Just a good rule of thumb for beginners, don't block in your bishop so early, okay? So, don't block in your bishop so early, and instead of that, develop your knights. But okay, d6, I love white's next move. Bishop c4, simple, nice, natural, very easy development of your pieces. And here black does in fact play the move knight c6. So far, so good. I mean, nobody's done anything stupid yet. All right, well, I think it's time for all of us to take a collective sip of water or tea. I've got some seltzer here. Cause yeah, the fun's done. The fun's done. It's about to get real slimy. So in this position, white can play castles, or white can expand and put 2 pawns in the center. Now, if you are able to put 2 pawns in the center in chess, you should. I love this move. And the good thing for white is that the trade is fine because you're still making progress in the position with development. And 2 trades are also fine. Because your queen being in the center is not dangerous. Attacking it with pawns is a little bit too much. your queen slides back, your queen is safe, and you have good control of the light squares. So as long as a knight cannot attack your queen in the center of the board, it's okay to put the queen there for the most part. Now, I told you we're about to get nice and slimy really quickly. Black should either take and finish developing or do something like that. Black plays the move knight a5. Now, knight a5, I must admit, is definitely not the stupidest move I've ever seen. In fact, it attacks the bishop. Like, there is a threat, all right? And to Black's credit, our protagonist's credit, White does not play the best move because Black wants to take the bishop. Black doesn't mind if they take the bishop on that square. It's still a bishop, all right? It would have been better for White to actually go the other direction where they wouldn't have gotten their bishop taken. But bishop b3 is played, and naturally, Black took it because Black wanted to get rid of the bishop. Here, White recaptures with the correct pawn. It's better to take with the flank pawn, even over here, because even if you castle, you're safe. The rook is open, and it's better to keep your pawns together versus taking away from the center and creating some gap between the pawns. So a takes b3. Now, again, knights before bishops. You would like to develop your knights before your bishops. Why? Because you probably know where your knight is going. You don't know if the bishop wants to go there. Plus, don't have a blind spot for the pawns in the center of the board, which a lot of beginners do. Just take. Alleviate the pressure. Facilitate your own development. White plays the move, Black plays the move bishop g4. Again, don't hate this move, but deal with this. Now White plays h3. Now the reason why the move h3 is not good is because in this very, very rare case, taking this knight wins you the pawn on d4 probably. Because after bishop takes knight, you really don't want to just give away a bishop for no reason, but you would be winning a pawn, which is nice. It's nice to win a pawn. And the alternative for White is to go here and open up the king for the future. The computer doesn't hate it, but the computer is a piece of trash. So, Black doesn't do that. Black plays bishop h5, and now White chases the bishop out. Pawn to g4, says, get out of here. Normally a bad move. In this particular case, the computer likes it, but I would not recommend for beginners to advance pawns like this because you're gonna weaken your king. Bishop to g6, hitting the pawn in the center. White develops. Now Black takes. Queen comes out. Remember how a moment ago I told you it's okay to put the queen in the center of the board as long as a knight cannot attack it? Because the move c5 is only a very temporary dopamine move, and in reality it causes a lot more irreparable damage to the position. I was not exaggerating. I used to teach 4-year-olds how to teach chess. I bet none of you watching this are 4 years old, and if you are, then where are your parents? And if your parents are close, well then I won't swear for the rest of the video. I used to teach 4-year-olds chess. I know how to deconstruct concepts, whether you're 4, 8, 20, 30, 70, 90, and if you're watching this above the age of 90, congrats. I had no idea you even knew how to turn on an electronic, God bless. So, c5 attacks the queen on d4, and the queen goes up to d5. Now, Black is significantly worse. If you look at the evaluation bar, it says that White is plus 1.8. The reasons for that. Number one, Black doesn't have a lot of development. Black's pieces are all pretty much on the back rank. Number two, Black has a lot of weaknesses. White has not just more development, but good development, high quality development, all right? Farm raised, grass-fed beef, okay? Wagyu. Those are not the same thing. Now, you have this hanging, so you should probably defend it, and then you should kick the queen out, develop castle. Defend it, kick the queen out, develop castle. Develop castle, okay? Nope. If you had the attention span of a person that could last 6.5 minutes, you are about to witness one of the greatest things I have ever seen in my life. This person captioned this Reddit post, "I'm pissing myself." And frankly, so did I when I saw this game. Black here saw that the pawn was hanging and played pawn to b6. The problem is the move pawn to b6 catastrophically loses this game. It loses this game instantly because White was not just threatening to hit the pawn. White was threatening to get in, period. Okay? This is like seeing a robber and opening the window for them because that way they might not break the window. So now the queen goes to c6, and we have a giant problem. Because Black has no development, so Black can only block and lose the rook or run the king forward. Now, perhaps Black is a Gotham Chess subscriber, and what you are about to witness is perhaps just one of the greatest runs of the king I have ever seen. This is ridiculous. This was a track meet. She's a runner, she's a track star. King e7, and the Black king goes on a spiritual journey. In this position, White has forced checkmate in 15 moves. Knight d5 check, king to e6, knight to g5 check. If you sacrifice your queen, it's mate in 11. If you go up, it's mate in 2. It is mate in 2 after the move f4, and then it's checkmate in 1. Alternatively, it's bishop f4, and then white can even play long castles, checkmate. But if that were to happen, we would not have a YouTube video on our hands. So instead, we have f4 check, king to d4. The king has arrived for the bishop to develop and deliver a checkmate. The rook can go to a4, the queen can go back, and black would have to block and it would be mate. But in this position, white plays the worst move possible. Because like I said, you could accidentally check.
चले क्लाउड किचन चालू किया था
पकाएंगे कहाँ?
इसमें बिहार और झारखंड दोनों का टेस्ट किया माता जी से पकाते हैं
Checkmate your opponent here so many different ways. Knight back to f3 and then double check, mating the king in the center. Do you know how many acts?
हाँ?
झारखंड का खाना
वो बना सकते हैं। क्या बोलते हैं उसको यार?
और साला फूड में बना दिक्कत क्या है ना साला पहले फूड अथॉरिटी से वो लेना पड़ता है ना वो माता जी
Accidental checkmates there are in this position. White plays pawn to c3, thinking it's mate. White probably played the move c3 and then was shocked there was no thing that went doo-doo. Black now has only one legal move, and it's to move the king to where the pawn used to protect, king to d3. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you. There are still no less than about 78 different checkmate in 2 or 3 in this position. The black king, or any king for that matter, white, green, red, purple, should not be on the 3rd rank of the enemy side when there has only been 2 trades. Okay? This should not be happening. White in this position should give a check. If you give a check, you might accidentally checkmate your opponent. Queen b5, knight e3 mate. Rook h2 is made, for God's sake. Do you see how many accidental checkmates there are? In this position, white plays a move that is not a check. It's not a check, but because the king has wandered over there, it is checkmate no matter what. It doesn't matter. You can play bishop d2. The evaluation still looks like a BMW model. It's an m5, okay? Black in this position, for the record, plays one of the most clutch defensive moves they could possibly play. Black in this position plays knight e7. This is a genius move, okay? This was not very genius. This is genius because it hits 2 of the major white pieces, and maybe white is going to take a little bit of time to take. And maybe white is going to take their eye off the prize. But no, after knight to e7, white realizes, wait a minute, I don't have time for this, and plays queen to b5 check, and that forces the king even deeper into the territory. I have never seen something like that. I have never seen a king standing on c2. This doesn't even look real. It doesn't even look real. It doesn't look real. I don't know what to tell you. Now, once again, there are no mates in 2. There's no mates in 1. There's not even a mate in 2. There is something like 470 different combinations of mate in 3 in this position. White plays rook c1 check and loses the pawn on b2. The king has now entered b2. I mean, this is utterly ridiculous. White can play king up to e2, and there's a mate. I legitimately think any legal move here for white is still mate in 3. Think about that. White might be able, this might not be, okay? Losing the queen in 1 move might not be, but literally 95% of white's legal moves end the game in a few moves. Knight b4 is probably mate in 3. Knight f3 is mate in 3. Rook h2 is mate in 3. Anything is mate in 3. King f2 is mate in 4. Oh my gosh. Undeveloping the queen to f1 is mate in 9. In this position, white plays the move queen a4. The king is surrounded. That's it. It's hopeless. It's absolutely and utterly hopeless, and black is going to lose in a very embarrassing fashion. In this position, black plays, once again, a couple of moves ago, black played knight e7, which was an excellent move, creating their own defensive chances. Now knight takes knight. Now, folks, please, for the love of God, understand that it's still so over. I mean, it is so over. Rook h2, all right, Queen A1, Rook B1, Rook C2 is mate in a few, for God's sake, because of this. King goes to D3, and now you have Queen B1 mate. You have Queen B1 mate. Okay? So, Queen A1 check. Once again, black has only one legal move. Black takes on B3. Now, white has many different checks here. Rook B1 check. King goes back. Now it's mate again. The only escape square for the black king is the move king to D3. Queen A6 ends the game on the spot. Black would have to go here, and that would be GG. Or you can play Queen A2, or you can play Queen A4. Queen A4 check, king to D3. And again, you can go ring around the rosy here. The king could go to C2. You have mate on B2, or you have mate on C1. Queen B5 check absolutely must be played. In fact, it is the only check that you have. I guess you also have Queen A6, but then after King C2, you got to repeat the position. But in this position, white decides to take on D5. And you may notice that the evaluation bar has dropped a lot. That's because in the journey of chasing the king, white lost a little bit of material. I know it wasn't obvious, but white actually lost some pawns, and white lost, well, for a long time, white had no knight. So right now, it's just a 2-pawn advantage for black.
Sure.
In this position, black has one and only one defensive move, and that move is Queen to E8, which is so clutch. Always look for checks. Queen E8 hits the king and the queen, and after takes, anywhere the king moves, black is just winning. Black's winning. Black's king is no longer in any danger. I am the danger, right? Queen E8 is so clutch. What a move. Now white here spirals. Spirals out of control, forgets that they have a queen, and they lose the queen in one move to Queen A4 check.
Fuck.
Except, my friends, black didn't take the queen.
Oi.
King D1 loses for a different
Shit.
reason. It doesn't lose to the move queen takes queen. It loses to Queen E2 check. King to C1.
Check.
Queen takes D2. Not only
Mate.
did white not win this game, not only did white blunder the queen, white got checkmated. White spent no less than 15 moves hunting the black king in positions where the black king was at his most vulnerable, with checkmates bursting out of the Stockfish evaluation. Mates in 1, mates in 2, mates in 3 and 4 and 5. But it all came down to the silly queen perched on the outskirts of the board, and black found Queen E8 check and Queen E2. And at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it was the king chased out of his kingdom, running around the board, that gave the queen a helping hand to defend the E2 square, and more importantly, the D2 square.
No, this is intrigued me.
चो साला कोडिंग सिग्नल को आसान लगता है अरे वेबसाइट बनाना आसान हो गया
You had a nice tactical find in this game. Let's review. Open. This is not the right up. One of the best moves. Develops the bishop and attack. One of the best moves. This isn't a mistake, but there was something better. This is not the right idea. Yes, this is the way. This permits the opponent to eventually win material. You overlooked an opportunity to eventually win material. This allows the opponent to eventually win a pawn. You missed an opportunity to eventually win a pawn. This allows the opponent to eventually win material. You are forcing your opponent to double pawns. Recaptures. You missed an opportunity to eventually win material. Recaptures. You missed an opportunity to eventually... You missed an opportunity... You overlooked an opportunity. You had a chance to play something... Takes back. You missed an opportunity to threaten... This is... You exchange... The game was... This not the best move. This overlooks an opportunity. Your rooks can work together now. This permits the opponent to win a tempo by threatening a knight. Nice find. You found the only move in this position. You win. This protects the attack. Nice find. You found the only move in this position. You win time by threatening a knight. This protects the attack knight. Threatening that pinned piece is going to win you a knight. This places a rook on the 7th rank where it can be highly active. You missed an opportunity to recapture a piece. This is the strongest option. Recapturing. This permits the opponent to win a bishop through You overlooked an opportunity to tactically win a bishop. This is the only good move. You are threatening to win a bishop through a fork. This overlooks an opportunity to activate the king by getting it off of the back rank. This permits the opponent to activate a rook by getting it to the 7th rank. You activated your rook and restricted the opponent's king. This move puts the bishop on a safer... You overlooked an opportunity to... This misses an opportunity to activate the king by You overlooked an opportunity... And this moves your rook to a safer square. This is a fine move. Well, this creates a pawn chain. That pawn chain will help strengthen your pawn structure. This leads to losing a pawn. This is the way to win a pawn. Takes back. You had an advantage, but now the game is close to equal. This is a very strong play. This move... That's an unfortunate error. Good job. That's what I would have played too. This is the strongest option. Well done. An excellent... Very good choice. Applying pressure to White's pawn chain. There were worse moves, but also something much better. You moved quickly, missing the only good move. There were worse moves, but also something much better. Putting your rook behind an opponent's passed pawn makes it harder to promote. This is the only good move. You had a better option, but this is not bad. Right on target. This is a fine move. This steps away from the checking. Well done. This defends a pawn that was... Very good choice.
secrets that I held in my heart. Dun, 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 dun. अरे यार फोर्क मिस किया मैंने फोर्क क्यों
करोगे ये? करोगे? ए,
हम्म
क्या कर रहे हो?
हम्म
जैसे किनवा हम लोग को जो डिजाइन देता है,
हम्म
किनवा जैसे अगर आपने खुद का डिजाइनिंग प्लेटफॉर्म चाहे बनाओ तो बन सकता है।
आसान थोड़ी है।
साले इम्पॉसिबल तो नहीं है ना, बन तो सकता है।
खर्चा मतलब करो मेहनत 20 25 50, मतलब कम से कम 5 6 साल।
और उससे कम रेट पे सारा देना चालू कर देते हैं।
ना
और उससे कम रेट पे देना चालू करते हैं।
गोली मार भेजे मैं कि भेजा शोर करता है, देश भर में चर्चा है, जो बोले अपन करता है। छू 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 मेरा भाई। छू 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 मेरा भाई, मेरा भाई। गोली मार भेजे मैं कि भेजा शोर करता है, देश भर में चर्चा है, जो बोले अपन करता है। अटैक 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 अटैक। All right, come back, come back, come back. Go here, it's here. All right, simple choice, simple choice. Yeah. Mm. Do, 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 do. it. Go there, go in the back. Save your stuff. Dang it. Mate. Blunder, crazy blunder.
इस वीडियो में आप लोगों को MongoDB में CRUD ऑपरेशंस किस तरह से करने हैं ये सिखाने वाला हूं। MongoDB के अंदर CRUD ऑपरेशंस यानी क्रिएट, रीड, अपडेट और डिलीट करना बेहद आसान है। सिंटेक्स डॉक्यूमेंटेशन से बड़े आराम से मिल जाता है। आप इस वीडियो को लाइक करके नीचे कमेंट सेक्शन में सिग्मा बैच भी जरूर लिख देना। चलते हैं कंप्यूटर स्क्रीन में, लेट्स रोल द इंट्रो। 94 लास्ट वाला जिसमें MongoDB के बेसिक्स सीखे थे। लोकल कंप्यूटर का MongoDB इंस्टेंस है। मैं क्रिएट न्यू प्लेग्राउंड पर क्लिक करूंगा और करूँगा और इसको मैं या तो सेव कर सकता हूँ या फिर क्या कर सकता हूँ यहाँ DB दूँगा। तो सबसे पहली बात जो मैं आप लोगों को बताना चाहता हूँ और जो शायद आप लोगों को बहुत कम लोग बताएँगे वो ये है कि आप लोग कुछ भी याद रखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। MongoDB के अंदर क्रिएट डेटाबेस कैसे करते हैं आप लोग को यहाँ पर मिल जाएगा MongoDB की डॉक्यूमेंटेशन के अंदर, ठीक है। MongoDB के अंदर किस तरह से कलेक्शन को क्रिएट किया जाता है ये सब आप लोग को यहाँ पर मिल जाएगा। बट लेट मी टेल यू कि एक्सपीरियंस से मुझे चीज़ें याद हो चुकी हैं, तो मैं भी यहाँ पर क्या करूँगा कि मैंने CRUD DB बनाया। अब मैं यहाँ पर अगर console.log और मैं DB करूँ और मैं इसको चलाऊँ स्क्रिप्ट को एंड आई जस्ट वांट टू शो यू कि ये ना आउटपुट में आता है यहाँ पर। तो CRUD DB आप देख सकते हो यहाँ पर आ गया। तो DB जो है अभी मेरा वो CRUD, तो मैं भी यहाँ पर क्या करूँगा डॉक्यूमेंटेशन के अंदर, ठीक है।
Hello everyone, in this video we are going to see how to get the Mongo connection string.
थी सिंगल बाडी रे तेरी हाँ होगी गाड़ी रे आई थी सिंगल बाडी रे तेरे कमर का कमरा हो रिया से आई थी सिंगल बाडी रे तेरी हाँ
So as you may already know, PlanetScale, which by the way is the database service I was using for icongeneratorAI.com, decided to remove their hobby plan, and now you have to pay $40 a month for their database services. They also laid off a bunch of people from like their marketing and sales teams as well. Kind of weird that this transition happened this abruptly, but in all honesty, $40 a month for a database isn't that expensive, especially if your service is making money, which my icongeneratorAI.com is. I make around like $1,000 or so every month. So paying $40 for a database isn't that big of a deal, but I'm cheap. And so I decided to migrate off of PlanetScale, and I wanted to walk you through how you can do it yourself if you were maybe using their hobby plan. So the service I migrated to is Railway, but there's tons of other services out there. The one reason I picked Railway is because they have MySQL. As you may know, PlanetScale is basically a MySQL database under the hood. Let's just go ahead and create a MySQL database in Railway. Again, this isn't sponsored. This is just I wanted to get off of PlanetScale as fast as possible, and I've used Railway before, and I know they have MySQL. So I said, let's just spin up a MySQL database here, get my data off Railway, and cancel my account. So that's the first step, is I need to spin up a database. The second thing you need to do is you need to get all of your data that's currently in your PlanetScale database out. Okay, now what I did is I went into my environment variables of Lambda, and I just turned off my compute so that users who are currently using the system wouldn't just keep inserting data into the old database. I basically just turned my app off, which is fine if you can afford some downtime. But once I did that, basically what you can do is you can run this command, pscale database dump, and then the name of your database, and then the branch. So I have a main branch, and when you run this, that'll pull all your data from your database and put it in a table over here. As you can see, it's making some SQL files. This will have all my user information. This will have all my icons, my trial information, and it also has schemas that I can run in the new database to basically recreate everything. Now, unfortunately, you have all these like separate SQL scripts, which isn't the best developer experience. So what we want to do is we want to make a single schema file. So let's just go ahead and run this command. Basically, I want to concatenate all the files together into a single SQL schema file. Make sure I'm in the right directory. I should be able to run that, and that should make an all schema. I'm also going to combine all of these number scripts into an all SQL script here. Technically, you don't need to do this. You can just run the SQL scripts like in order if you want to. You just need to make sure the tables exist first before you try to insert the data. Anyway, so now that we have those two script files set up, we need to set up some information so we can run the MySQL command and basically ingest all of these scripts, all of these SQL statements. So let's go to our database here and let's click it. Let's go to variables, and then I'm gonna grab some of the stuff, like we need DB host. Let's click on this one, copy it. And by the way, I'm gonna delete this database after this video, so don't think that you guys can do with any delete information.
कि ये टेबल नहीं है। कितना मूवी है हाँ कुछ तो करने को नहीं गलत Okay. So here is a bunch of stuff. Okay, gotcha.